We are your home for exclusive interviews and behind-the-scenes stories you won't hear anywhere else. This is all about Kentucky tracks, Kentucky drivers, and Kentucky fans. We eat, sleep, and breathe it anyways, so we figured, why not make a podcast about it? For 11 years, we've been keeping the bluegrass covered in dirt. Now, we're doing it bigger than ever before. We are Kentucky's Dirt Racing Podcast. Welcome to another edition of Dirt Racing in the Bluegrass Live, presented by Smokehouse Grill and Buffet.
And welcome into Memorial Day weekend preview edition of Dirt Racing in the Bluegrass Live. Wes, one of the biggest weekends of the year ahead of us this coming weekend. It's a big swing, a lot of racing going on here in the state of Kentucky. We're going to start off this show this evening with some technical difficulties. Imagine that.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
So I'm sure my audio doesn't sound quite as good as it normally does. I know I'm not going to be able to hear you all that well. We're not going to be able to take calls on the podcast this evening. We had lined up for Chris Tilley to be with us. We were going to call him. He's out and about this evening, and we were going to call him and get him on here. So just unfortunate, man. This thing always works. It just, I'm not sure what's going on with our interface here that allows us to do all that stuff, but just part of it, I guess, as they say, you'll have that on these big jobs.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be able to have Tilley come on at 8:30, so we should be good.
Okay, so he can jump on through StreamYard then, so that'll work.
Yeah.
And tell him he can wait till about 8:40 if he wants to, because we're behind schedule already. It was about 8:10 before we got started, so I don't want to keep him waiting. We're going to have Avery Taylor on here with us in just a few minutes. Avery won the super late model portion last Saturday night at Mudlick Valley Raceway. He is planning on running there again this Sunday. They've got a big memorial race. We'll talk a lot about that here in just a little bit. But we're going to have him on here with us. I'm really looking forward to that, Wes. I truly enjoy getting these local guys on here. Guys that, I think nationally and without this podcast really, don't get a lot of deserved attention to be out there in front of the fans. And, another thing is they're all very appreciative, and that's something that means a lot to me. That's why we do this podcast. So really enjoy having these guys on here with us.
Yeah, and it's really cool to have guys on here like that we don't know personally. So that's really cool.
It is, yeah. I've it's kind of a new area to us, to be honest with you. Just this year, starting to branch out. He runs a lot up there in the Willard, Mudlick Valley Raceway area, Portsmouth up in there. And so kind of a new area to us, so it is a lot of fun to branch out. We've met a lot of new people up there, got a lot of listeners from up in that area here on our podcast, so definitely a good thing. This is the Bluegrass Restoration and Construction Studio. This segment is sponsored by Dirtman Diecast. He is always at a local racetrack somewhere. You can check him out, check out his setup there, or you can go to dirtmandiecast.com. for diecast late model sprint cars, other diecast race cars. Be sure to check him out, and you can go on his website and see what all he's got to offer there. You cannot call the Racetrack Connection hotline tonight because it's not working, but we do have the Racetrack Connection hotline. Yeah, man, let's just get right into some stuff here quickly this evening. We got a lot to get to. Wes, I'll be honest with you, I've been busy this week. Ran straight, finished up detailing a vehicle, went straight to the ball field, 5:45. Brantley had a ball game. It's been like that all week. I said we'd have a hot topic, something to talk about. To be honest with you, I haven't even had time to think of anything, or I don't know what a hot topic is this week. So I know it's going to come off the top of your head, but you got some hot topics out there. I'm sure you've got something you can think of.
Well, just like you this week, Josh, I've been crazy busy with work, life, and everything in general. So, but earlier in the week, we talked that you might have a new nickname. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I think I might have. I went from Jumping Josh. That didn't fit all that. I can't jump, so I figured that really doesn't fit all that well. But I guess I'll take whatever I can get. But I guess the newest one I'm assuming you're talking about is Little Punk.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
So yeah, I've had a lot of insults hurled at me. Not really, a few, I guess. Little Punk might be the best.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, man, that's really, that really hits home there. But yeah, I hate that anybody feels that way. Wes, we work really hard here on this podcast to build up our racetracks, to help promote, to help, show all the good that our promoters and our racetrack owners do. And man, those guys and girls who own and promote these racetracks work so hard. And they don't make it. I don't know if they make how much money they make, but I can guarantee you make enough money for their trouble. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it should be more fun. And it just, I don't want to see anybody try to tear down our racetracks and do things and say things and go on a rampage to try to affect any of our racetracks. So, if that's an issue, I'm sorry, but that's just where I stand. And if that makes me a little punk, I guess I'll label happily.
Yeah. I'll just call you Josh. If you start acting like a little punk, I'll just call you little punk.
Yeah, well, whatever you want to call me, I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. But yeah, well, like I said, that is what it is. I'll be honest with you, I don't want to give that whole thing any more attention because I think that's what it's all about when it comes down to. So, I think we move forward from that and talk about all the good things we've got going here in the great state of Kentucky, coming up this week, because there sure is a whole lot of good. I'll tell you that for sure. And I think everybody can see that. We appreciate everybody joining us here this evening. Thank you for all that are listening, tuned in live here with us. Wes, real quick, I want to talk a little about a couple of events we've got coming up. Well, quite a few here in the state of Kentucky. We've got the Valvoline Ironman Late Model Series coming to town this weekend, Friday night at Ponderosa Speedway, and then Saturday night at Lake Cumberland Speedway. But two legends in our sport. Really more than two. Let's see, I guess there's a total of four, but two that I want to begin with here. Bobby Carrier Sr., I'll start with him, Wes. I'll be honest with you, I grew up during the time of Bobby Carrier Jr.
Yeah.
And so I don't remember Bobby Carrier Sr. that much, but he's a legend and definitely deserves this memorial race, deserves to be honored. That whole family, man, is just a name that certainly is recognizable for sure.
Yeah, we've talked about it on previous shows. The Carrier name across the state of Kentucky in dirt racing is at the top level. And it's just cool to honor that family again this weekend.
And then Johnny Wheeler, of course, the Saturday night at Lake Cumberland Speedway, the Wheel Man, Johnny Wheeler. That is someone that I grew up watching, and certainly a name that means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to you, means a lot to so many people here in our area. The 31X, his nickname is the Wheelman because he was a wheelman. He was a tremendous race car driver, a great person. He was just a friendly guy, quiet, didn't ever have a whole lot to say, didn't seem like, but he certainly could wheel a race car, and that's always one of my favorite events all year, just because of I knew him personally, and so it's one that means a lot to me for sure.
Yeah, he was definitely a wheelman, and he wasn't a flashy person. He was quiet and laid back, but he got the job done on the track. Just a super nice guy.
Yeah, I agree with you. He definitely was. And then I'll be honest with you, at Mudlick Valley Raceway this coming Sunday, that's a Sunday night race this week with the holiday being on Monday. Good to see them doing that. The Sam Gilbert and Owen Stevens Memorial. I'm gonna be honest with you, Wes. I don't know who. I'm not familiar with either of those guys. I don't know if you are, but if you're listening tonight, in the comments, give us some information if you have any on them. We certainly want to, talk about them some, and like I said, that whole area over there with Mudlick, Willard, that whole area over there. I haven't been, didn't grow up over in that area, being more here in Richmond. But I would like to know some more. If you got some information on them, please spread it, share it with us. We'll get out what we can for sure, because we don't want to leave them out by any means. But Wes, let's go ahead while we're waiting around to see if anybody's got some information on Sam Gilbert and Owen Stevens for us. Let's go ahead and bring Avery Taylor on the podcast with us here this evening. Avery, buddy, congrats on the win last Saturday night at Mudlick Valley Raceway, and thank you so much for joining us on the podcast here this evening.
I really appreciate it, and thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's no problem, man. Like I said, we appreciate you coming on here. These fans and people who listen to our podcast would much rather listen to you guys and get to know you all than they would us just to sit here and ramble all night. And it's really a good opportunity, I feel like, for all of us to get to know you guys a little bit more. Personally, we see your race car. I wish I had a picture of it. The 159. It's a yellow car. Beautiful. It's looked similar for the last couple of years.
Yes, sir.
But we recognize race cars as race fans. We don't always. If we saw you out in public, I don't know if we'd know you. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So it's good to have you on here. Wes, my telling me that you're echoing so bad she can't hardly hear anything. Is anybody else having that issue? Let us know in the comments. We don't want to miss this, and it could be me too, because of course we had technical difficulties to start the show, so it could be my fault. Anybody having audio issues? Let us know.
And Avery's is too.
Yeah, I hear a little echo.
Yeah. We're both echoing.
James Logan says Avery is also echoing.
Yeah.
Sarah says everyone is echoing except Josh. Maybe she's just trying to take it easy on me because I'm her husband.
No, you're clear.
Okay. I'm clear as a whistle.
Maybe my phone here. Any less echo now?
See, I don't hear any echo. I don't have headphones on. Let me try this. You know what? On the fly sometimes here on the podcast, part of doing this live, we just got to fix things as we go. We can edit it for Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It'll be all right. Let me try. Ken Short says, sounds like I have a double feed. I bet it is me.
I guarantee it is.
Let me try shutting this computer and let me try getting on my phone and see if that fixes anything. But my phone's about to die, so I might not make it through on it either. So we'll just have to see. But let me try that and see if it's any better.